Hello, hello. All right. Let's see. Put over this side. And I am tonight going to be carving this monster carving. He's a one-eyed monster. He's got a little bit of a mohawk and his mouth's open. He's got some horns on him. So this was what I will be working on tonight. For at least the next hour or so. Let's see how long I can work tonight. To me, this eye kind of looks like a sunset. So I'm going to kind of carve it kind of like that. Just treat me better. There we go. Sometimes it's hard to get a rhythm going at the beginning. So tonight I'm carving this little monster guy. He's not so little, I guess. He's medium. He's a medium-sized piece. And as always, I'm carving out of MDF medium density fiber board. Or as usual, not always. Sometimes I carve other things. Okay. What is my favorite brand of carving tools? I like the Power Grips. Power Grips. They fit my hand best, and I like how they work and how they carve. How did I get into doing this? So I have a degree in drawing, painting, and printmaking from Kennesaw State University. I was kind of I was introduced to printmaking there, and out of all the printmaking processes, wood carving was my favorite. It is the one that I liked other processes too. I really like etching as well, but wood carving is the one that kind of worked with my style of drawing and how my brain worked. So I kind of kept moving forward with it. And fast forward to 7-8 years later, here I am. The comment page is kind of moving quick tonight, so there's a lot of people on here. So if I miss one of your things, you can repeat it, and hopefully I see it the second time around. I try to look up frequently, but it's difficult to see every comment. What tools are these? Power grips. They're power grips carving tools. Let's get that little. I've got one little eye highlight drawn in here, but I'm going to give him two. Clean up these edges. Yes, I use MDF. That's what I'm carving tonight, MDF. Give him another little highlight here. Actually, I'm gonna make his eye really glow. I'm gonna give him a third one. Third little highlight. All different sizes. Alright. How do you put your image on the board? So I draw all my pictures or all my sketches in my sketchbook, and then I use a digital projector to get them to the right size that I want them on the board. And then once I have the image projected onto the board, I draw it on with a Sharpie. But everything starts off as a drawing in my sketchbook. What do I do with the leftover carvings once they have had their run with printing? I keep a lot of my carvings for years and years. There's some carvings that I've had since I've started, but sometimes they break, and then I have incorporated some older blocks into my work before recently. I did that with the seahorse carving that I did earlier this year. I incorporated one of my older t-shirt blocks into that. I have thrown a couple away. But mostly I just keep them until I find a use for them. Or I continue to print them. I have two racks in my basement in my studio, just filled with carved blocks. Ever considered a cross-state collaboration? Um, I mean, it depends. Generally, I like to work alone, though. It would be hard. I keep really busy, and so it's hard to dedicate time to projects like that. But I'm working on a collaboration with somebody currently. But I never say a flat out no, because it depends on the opportunity and where I'm at and what I'm looking to do. Do I sell my carvings? I sell the painted carvings. I don't sell the carvings that I print. So I have a pretty strict rule that if I paint a carving, I never print it. And if I print a carving, I never paint it or sell it as an original. And I keep pretty strict to that, just because, you know, I think intention in your work is very important. And the pieces that I intend to paint and sell as originals, I do that and I never print them. And the pieces that I intend to have as a printed block are for just that, printing, and not for showing as a unique piece. Where and how did I develop my style? So I've answered this question a couple different times on here over the course of me doing these. And I've always said that I never set out to develop my style. It wasn't a conscious effort. I don't want to say I fell into it, because that's not true either, because I have spent a lot of time drawing. But what you see me carving and drawing, and my style per se, is what comes naturally to me. And I look at what I enjoy doing, and I try to bring out the best parts of my work forward to come into my style. And I talk about the difference between developing a style and developing a voice. I think a style is a dirty word. Because when you're trying to develop a style, people tend to look at other people's quote-unquote styles and mimic them, because they see that that's successful for that person, and you're never going to be as good as doing the thing that somebody else is doing, because you're not them, and you have to come up with your original voice. You don't choose the way you talk. You don't choose your accent. I guess some people can, but a voice is something that comes naturally, and a style is something that you choose. So I would let whatever comes naturally, what your natural strengths are, push those forward in your work, rather than focusing on finding a style. Have you ever carved a drawing that wasn't yours for a customer? Typically, I only do my own work. So, I mean, I do some freelance work for people, and I've done favors for people for longtime customers, or longtime clients. I'd call them clients more than customers. But I try to avoid it, and I do my own work. And if I am doing something that's heavily inspired by something else, I still try to throw my own myself into that work, and I don't just do a replica. I saw a question about hands that's gone. Let me see if I can't. Let me go up here. How do you keep your hands healthy? Because it seems like carving can be hard on your hands and joints. I always wear a glove. I've worn gloves for the past, 8 years carving. Every time I do anything creative with my hands, I'm wearing a glove or a wrist support. And if you start to feel pain in your hands, you slow down or you stop. You just listen to your body. But I always wear gloves. That's the most important thing that I do. I'm currently wearing an automotive glove and a wrist support. Where do I get my inspiration from? Man, I'm just always drawing. Like some days I just sit down and like I want to draw monsters, and I'll sit down and I'll draw like 5 to 10 different monsters, and I'll pick the good ones that I like, the ones I think that are fun and unique. That's where these ones came from, what I'm currently working on. Or I'll sit down and I draw things in like series too, like just to find the fun shapes and the good textures. So if I'm working on, sharks, I'll draw like 10 to 20 sharks just to kind of get a feel for it. But I work a lot in my sketchbook, and that's where a lot of my inspiration comes from, is my sketchbook. And I was just trying to get better in my technique in my work. What age did I start? Carving or drawing? I've been drawing for as long as I can remember. But carving, I guess I started carving when I was like 22. 23, somewhere in that range. I did my first carving. Do you have to seal the MDF before starting? You can. Sometimes I do. Most of the times I don't. I just kind of let the nature of the MDF decide whether I want to seal it before I start or not. If it's kind of ripping and tearing, I'll put a layer of bullseye shellac on it. But generally, I don't. It's not necessary most of the time. What is an MDF? MDF is the board that I use. It's just a building material. You can get it at Home Depot or Lowe's or just a building supply store, depending on where you are. And the horn here, I'm just kind of making fun little abstract areas. I had some things drawn in here, and I followed it slightly. But I'm also kind of taking some liberties with my carving marks in this area. Have I done reductions in MDF? Definitely. For those people who may not know what a reduction is, a reduction is when you carve a little bit away from the MDF or the linoleum or the wood, whatever you're working in, and then you print it, and then you carve a little bit more, and then you print it in a different color, and then you carve a little bit more and you print it in a different color than those other two colors, and then you come up with a full image at the end of it. Some reductions can look like a painting. Some people, if you just do one or two colors. But yeah, I've definitely done reductions. What am I working on? It is it's a one-eyed, two-horned, open-mouth, happy monster thing. So it's just a monster guy. For really no reason at all. Just one of my sketches I've decided to turn into a carving. Do I have a favorite carving? There's definitely ones I like more than others, but I generally tend to like the ones that I spend the most time on the most. And one that I did like last year, I spent a lot of time on, and it's currently my favorite piece. Not necessarily my favorite carving, but my favorite piece. And it's a big octopus piece that's hanging up in my studio down here. What's my favorite thing to draw? I like drawing a lot of different things. I go through phases. I went through a bird phase last year. I'm still kind of in it, and I still enjoy drawing like birds and wings. I like drawing anything with like fur. I like drawing things that are kind of amorphous and blobby that I can have fun with the different shapes. Like octopuses and snails and slugs and things like that. How often do I need to strop? I have them like on my desk next to me. I have a couple different pieces, and I've got a sharpening stone over to the side. Man, it's whenever I feel that my tools are giving me resistance. I'll probably strop like once or twice a carving, just to avoid having to reshape my tools all the time, but it really depends. You, Chick Family Inc., you must be a printmaker or relief carver as well. Do I miss Murder Kroger? No. I don't really live down in that area, so I went there like once or twice. But it being gone doesn't change my life one bit. You miss it? I'm sorry. I'm sure Beltline Kroger will be open soon. Do I ever have gallery shows? Yes. Kim, are you in Atlanta or are you outside of Atlanta? I do gallery shows here quite frequently. Mostly group shows. But every now and then I'll have like a 1 or 2 person show. I just had a piece in a show that opened up on Saturday night. The gallery that I show with the most is Kibbe Gallery. I've posted about it here before, definitely. But I always have work up in Kibbe Gallery in Atlanta, yes. I've got a couple pieces up there currently. My most recent Bigfoot piece that I did was up at Kibbe Gallery. And then I've got a couple smaller pieces that are still there in the back room. I've never carved MDF, but it looks like butter compared to the plywood I carve. I mean, it doesn't have grain, so you don't have to fight it from that aspect. But I must warn you, I do make it look easier than it is to carve. And I move through it pretty quickly. What kind of plywood do you carve? Does it look easier because of the pressure I'm using? I mean, it looks easier because I've been doing it for 8 to 10 years. Pretty much every day. I just do it a lot. So I have, I know when my tools need to be sharpened. I know what angle to enter the wood at. My hands have built up strength to be able to carve it. How do you color this, and do you use a machine or do you use your hands? Everything I do is handmade. I don't use a machine to paint them. I just paint it with a brush and some paint. I do have a couple of videos up here of me painting, and I definitely have stuff up on YouTube. Full videos. This will go up on YouTube after I'm done here with this. How do you come up with a design? Do you do a digital rendering beforehand? I mean, I just work in my sketchbook. I just draw. And I generally don't color in my drawings. I just paint them once I've finished carving them. I'm generally happy with the results. I do have a degree, like background in painting. My degree is in drawing and painting and printmaking. So I've definitely put in the time. Can you do a tutorial on when and how to sharpen your tools? What's my YouTube channel name? Easy, Noosh Studios. It should be easy enough to find. You just go in there and type in Noosh Studios. It should pop right up. Can I do a tutorial on how to carve or how to sharpen the tools? I could. I don't consider myself an expert on it though, and I don't want to put out misinformation. I'm sure I'll do a look up tonight to see if there's any videos on how to carve or how to sharpen relief carving tools, and if there's not, I'll do something. But by no means am I an expert, and I would declare that in the video. So I'll look up tonight to see if there's anything. My degree's in philosophy, and I sell it on eBay. You could sell anything that if you have it packaged right. How different is doing a woodcut than linoleum? It's just a different material. It's the same thought process, I'd say, going into it. But it's just it's a different feel. Linoleum carves a lot slower, but it's also less resistance. I know that sounds weird. It's just a completely different feeling to carve into linoleum. How did I get into carving? I have a degree in drawing, painting, and printmaking. I got it from Kennesaw State University. And when I was introduced to printmaking, I just really enjoyed the way that, relief prints, my work showed up in a relief print and how it translated. So I kept going at it. And just like anything, it's through exposure to different processes is how I got started. It's weird, that's kind of a good way to say it. The linoleum is like butter, wood is like frozen butter. I have an easier time carving MDF than I do linoleum. It's probably just because I work with it more. But yeah, it's very different experience. And I use linoleum whenever a project calls for it. Usually when I want to carve smaller, I'm using linoleum. If I want to work on a small piece, or I'm doing a piece for my Adana press, I'll do linoleum because it's naturally type high. Do I ever look at Gustav Baumann? No, I've never heard of that particular artist. There's so many talented people out there. Grab a drink of water real quick. Okay. Round off this edge a little bit more. So a lot of the work that I've been doing with this piece has been clearing out so far, but as I go into other areas, I'll start talking about what I'm doing a little bit heavier. Where? Let me know if you want to meet up. Where are you? You must be in Atlanta because you're talking about Murder Kroger. But what part of Atlanta are you in? Mableton. I got a buddy that lives over in Mableton, actually. I'm in Marietta, so we're not too far. Yeah, I mean, I'm not one of those ITP OTPers. You know, me living up in Marietta and all over points north for a while. I've got a car. I can go pretty much wherever I want. Let's see. Do you just stay in one area of the carving and finish it, or you jump around other spots? I kind of move methodically around my carvings. Finishing one area, then go to the next. I'll jump around if one area is sitting behind it and I feel like I need to finish the spot to inform what I want to do in the other area first. But generally I'll finish one area then move to the next. Like I'm about to finish up this top area because I've got this mohawk hair to add. It's funny, I drew this guy initially without the hair. And then when I drew him onto the board, I don't know why, I wasn't feeling it anymore. but I already taken the time to draw him out on the board, which is a chore to do. And I didn't want to abandon it. So I added the mohawk. We'll see if I like it. It's been about a month or two since I've actually drawn this guy out. And between freelance projects and little mini vacations and commissions, I'm just now getting a chance to sit down and carve him. Have you made a shirt where the carving is painted with colors and outlined in black? All my t-shirts, I'm not quite sure what you're asking there, but just to give a general answer, is all my t-shirts are printed with black ink on a colored t-shirt. I don't do multicolor prints on t-shirts. Is art my real job, quote unquote? Yeah, I mean, I'm a full-time artist. I do a lot of different things, and this is my favorite and one of them. So let's see. Have you ever been approached by large stores wanting to reproduce my work? No, not yet. Not yet. I don't know how I'd respond to that either, because it would be, I don't know. I'd probably turn it down if that ever happened, to be honest with you. I was offered by a lady once to work for her and design like lawn ornaments. But I turned it down because I didn't really want to contribute to like the mass production of stuff. Send me a message, man. Or actually, better yet, don't do it on here. Click the send email button and introduce yourself. Maybe we can hang out sometime. I tend to be a little bit of a homebody, and it takes some convincing to get me out of my basement. But what kind of stuff do you do? Do I do workshops or teach? I have in the past. I've taught workshops. I don't teach on a regular basis, but I have done workshops and classes. The Hudgens Center up in Duluth wants me to do another class. I gotta sit down and write a proposal for a class to do. What is this technique called? I'm a woodcut artist. It's wood carving, relief printing, block printing. There's a lot of names for it. But if you click the hashtags that I add to most of my posts, like relief carving or relief, or just carving, you can see other people would cut. A lot of other people that are working in this method. Now this one's gone pretty quick. This is my second carving I did today. It was it is the second piece that I've done. The first one was a dog, and had a lot of fur. And I sat and I probably carved that thing. It was a commission piece. I sat and I carved that thing probably for about 3 or 4 hours today. And this one, I'm probably not even 45 minutes into it. And I feel like I'm getting really close to being done, which I always enjoy, finishing quickly. Sometimes I get bored, which is why I've turned you guys on to kind of chat a little bit as I work. What inks do I use? I use pretty much Gamblin inks exclusively, just because I like how they work. Daniel Smith is nice too, but I like I like how the Gamblin inks come in a can. Say hi to Brazil. Hello, Brazil. I don't like Graphic Chemical. I don't know why. I'm sure. I mean, they're fine. I like Gamblin. It works for what I use it for, and it's smooth. I never have any. There's never any chunks in it. Is Instagram a good format for you, and do you use other media to get your work out there? I use all of the media to get my work out there. The only one I really don't focus on is Twitter. I have a Twitter, but since I'm more of a visual person, Twitter's more of a thoughts and opinion place. I don't focus on it, and it's really just what you use to cross post Instagram. But I use Facebook. I'm getting into YouTube now, but Instagram is my primary. Kind of hold this up, so I can show you guys what I've got going on so far. More this way. There you go. All right. Do you find particular woods work best for your work? I mean, I use MDF. I use a lot of different woods. I know some people carve Baltic birch, and I've carved maple before. I just prefer MDF when I'm working. It's nice. One day you'll have an original in my work. Yeah, I try to keep them pretty affordable too. If you're in Atlanta or Mableton, like you say, you should try to come out to a show that I am at. Then I've got one show coming up early July. I haven't posted about it yet, but I will be posting about it soon. So hold on to that. Hold on for that. But at the end of August every year, I do the Grant Park Summer Shade Festival. So that is coming up quickly. It's in Grant Park, which is easy to get to from pretty much anywhere in Atlanta, it feels like. I'll tell you that the one in July that I haven't posted about is going to be at the East Atlanta Village, and it's going to be on a Thursday night. I think it's July 12th, but I haven't posted about it yet. But East Atlanta Village. Is humidity ever an issue for long-term storage? No, not generally. I mean, I do keep all my stuff. I'm in a basement, but my basement is temperature controlled, so it's not an issue for me. And I do seal most of my printing blocks after I'm done carving them. But it's not, I seal my blocks up, and the ones that I carve and paint, I seal up in acrylic afterwards too. I put a coat of acrylic on top of them to kind of seal everything up nice. I haven't had an issue. It is heavy humidity here, but I haven't had a problem with it. Alright, let me get these hands done. Let's see, how. I'm going to carve these hands pretty much like a line drawing. I'm not going to leave a whole lot of information. I'm going to be real. What old-time cartoons inspire me? So I want to say, I'll preface this by saying that I don't go out and try to like copy cartoons. Like I won't, if I'm working on like, I don't know, like a monkey, I won't go and see like how monkeys were done in like Disney movies. But I have seen a lot of cartoons, and occasionally I'll look at cartoons like for like how eyes are done. But things that I'll look at as I'm drawing sometimes would be like, and I specifically won't. I won't, like I said, if I'm doing a monkey, I won't look at a monkey, but I'll look up just like Disney characters. I like how a lot of the Disney characters are realized. Sometimes I'll look up Lisa Frank. And then I've got, hi Marty. I've got, you know, memory banks filled with like Nickelodeon cartoons and Cartoon Network cartoons from when I was a kid that I'm sure I'm drawing on and not even knowing that I'm referencing it in my head because it's been just in my memories for so long. Up until now, you thought I had a machine. No, everything I do is handmade. Everything I do is handmade. Alright, so once again, in 2 minutes, Instagram Live is going to kick me off. And I'll sign back on to finish this carving. But it might take a minute or two. But I'll sign back on and finish the carving. Have you considered carving a wood and colored acrylic block? Yeah, I'll be back on, guys. So, I'm not... What other Atlanta artists do I like? I'll try to answer these questions as quickly in the next minute as I can. I mean, I like Catlanta. Let's see. Yeah, there's a painter at Kibbe Gallery that I really like, Melissa Bashman. I posted about her work in my story recently. Who else? I'm trying to go through my personal collection of people that I have hanging up in my house. I really like Nick Madden's work. I talked to him last night, or 2 nights ago. There's too many to mention, and I only got 9 seconds left before it kicks me off. So, ask it again on the other side if